Good morning, good looking people, and you're good looking because you're always looking, and of course, you are finding the good in everything. How are you? Hope you're having a nice weekend. Today is Sunday, so we're going to be doing the Hayom Yom for the 19th of Menachem Av. Today's Hayom Yom is more informative, and it's talking about all the different types of Tefilin. So before we go into the details of the Hayom Yom, I wanted to give you a little bit of context and a little bit of information, and then we'll read the Hayom Yom. First of all, there are 4 sets of Tefillin. There are Tefillin according to the Rashi, to Rabbeinu Tam, to Shemushe Rabbah, and to the Ravid. Universally, everybody puts on Tefillin according to Rashi. Then there are minhagim as Chabad that put on Rabbeinu Tam. There's a minhag of when to start that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then there's a set of Shemushe Rabbah and the Ravid. And today's Hayom Yom, we'll talk about when to put those on and what to learn in each one of the sets of Tefillin. Now, just a little bit of background. First of all, an emphasis today about Rabbeinu Tam's is that we all know we're not allowed to speak between putting on our Rashi tefillin, the hand tefillin and the head tefillin of the Rashis. Also, when it comes to the Rabbeinu Tam, even though we don't make a bracha on the Rabbeinu Tam tefillin, it's emphasized that we don't speak while putting on the hand, between the hand and the shel rosh. Another important note about Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. Until 1976, everybody put on Rashi tefillin, and then when they reached the age of 18, they would ask the Rebbe for permission if they were able to start putting on Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. In 1976 at Purim, in one of the Rebbe's, I believe one of the sichas or whatever he was giving over, he emphasized that at that point in time, that all bar mitzvah boys should start putting on Rabbeinu Tam tefillin, and that's where our minhagim comes in. That we talked about this a few weeks ago, that Rabbeinu Tam tefillin are to be put on even a couple weeks before the bar mitzvah. So by the time they get to the bar mitzvah, they're accustomed and they're comfortable both putting on Rashi's and Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. Another reason why tefillin is being brought up today is because in Parshas Ekev, specifically in chapter 11, Pasuk 18, we'd say, Ukshartem le'osayatchem, we're talking about tefillin. So tefillin was in the Parsha, therefore tefillin is also brought up in today's Hayom Yom. And just a very interesting note from the Chidah. The Chidah says that there's 5 parts of the neshama, and specifically he's emphasizing on nefesh, ruach, uneshama. And what he's saying today as well, and we'll get to the Hayom Yom, is that a person can't activate those 3 parts of the neshama unless he actually learns Torah in the Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. So it's very important to learn Torah in your Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. I'm taking achlata on right now, tomorrow, to start learning with my Rabbeinu Tam tefillin on. Now, last part, which was will be brought up as well to the Hayom Yom, is we have 4 sets of tefillin. Many people do not wear 4 sets of tefillin, but what the Rebbe was also stating in a note is that really a person has to be of the age 40 years old before having the ability to put on 4 sets of tefillin, and a person should set a mashpia or a mentor to talk to so they can go through all the different halachas about all the different types of tefillin and what to put on and what's for your situation. Obviously, if we're taking on something more to do, what we're already do should not be decreased. So it's a very fine point that before we take on new things, make sure that the other stuff that we're doing isn't diminished. It's to add. So therefore, we should be doing what we're doing already fantastic, and now taking on more. With all that, let's go to the Hayom Yom. I'm going to read it inside. It's more instructional, and we'll get through it together. Those who put on 4 pairs of tefillin, this is the procedure for the 19th of Menachem Av. 1. You put on the Rashi hand and the head tefillin before saying the chapter Ezehu Mekomen, which is found in the Karbanos on page 23, and you daven them until after Ach Tzadikim. 2. When you remove the Rashi tefillin from the head and put on without a bracha the Shemushe Rabbah tefillin for the head, recite Shema until MS. Then you recite the daily portion of Tehillim, as the Tehillim is divided into the days of the month. The meticulous would study those chapters with the commentaries of Rashi and the Metzudot. 3. Then you put on without a bracha the Rabbeinu Tam Tefilin. You recite Shema until Emes. Then chapter Kadesh, which is Kadesh Leviacha, and also the remembrances printed in the Siddur. This is what we talked about, the 6 remembrances a couple weeks ago. Then study a chapter of Mishnah, each according to his comprehension. And then number 4, you remove the Rabbeinu Tam Tefillin from the head, and then you put on the Raavad Tefillin on the head without a bracha. You recite Shema until Emes. You study the day's portion of the Chumash with commentary. As we do is we take the Chumash of the week and we divide it into 7 portions. First one is Rishon, then Sheni for Monday, etc., etc. So, message of the day is Tefillin, learning with your Tefillin on, and being careful also not to be talking between putting on your hand and your head Tefillin. And always, as we're trying to increase ourselves, we're always trying to get better. Set ourselves mashkiachs or mashpiyas and mentors to always look up to and also to ask questions as we try to increase. Have a wonderful day. Have a successful week. We'll talk more tomorrow.